Hello and welcome. I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, House of Representatives sets up committee to investigate alleged under-remittance of funds to the Federation's account by the Central Bank of Nigeria. In continuation of our review of the year 2017, we beam our searchlight on the Nigerian economy and how it's fared in the outgoing year. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission releases Chairman of Innoson Motors, Innocent Chukwuma, on bail as Senate condemns EFCC style of arrest. And 2 persons have been confirmed dead with several others injured. And Kenya's popular nightclub is hit by fire.
On business news tonight, multinational oil giants Shell and ENI to stand trial in Italy over alleged bribery scandal.
On sports news, CAF President Ahmad Ahmad insists Africa's ruling football body will not shift ground on having 24 teams participate in the 2019 Nations Cup.
And from Abuja, Federal Executive Council approves 38 billion naira for construction of independent power plants in 9 universities as weekly meeting moves into a second day, the first time under the present administration.
We begin tonight from the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives has raised concerns over allegations that the Central Bank of Nigeria has under-remitted millions of dollars and trillions of naira to the Treasury. The House is to investigate the alleged under-remittance, which it claims appears to have also escaped the notice of the Accountant General of the Federation. Our correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
As Nigeria slowly recovers from recession, it is still faced with the challenge of funding its yearly budget, a constraint that is of concern to all tiers of government. This concern appears to be the reason for this motion, which alleges under-remittance by the Central Bank of Nigeria, amongst other issues.
Worried that the CBN takes advantage of this important function of warehousing funds for the 3 tiers of government and preparation of the Federation account statement to manipulate the system by opening various accounts not known to the 3 tiers of government, where funds are remitted, hidden, diverted, and spent without authorization. Concerned that the CBN's responsibility of receiving revenue in foreign currencies and converting them to naira for the benefit of the 3 tiers of government has led to substantial loss in the amounts remitted to the Federation account.
The matter is put to a vote.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it.
An ad hoc committee is to investigate the matter and report back in 8 weeks. The House has also approved a motion urging the executive to initiate a process of bailing out critical industries in the country in order to reduce the number of unemployed youths.
Further aware that majority of the graduates lack the technical knowledge and capacity to become self-employed or to create employment opportunities for others, and the system of farming and agriculture in the country is obsolete and lacking modern mechanisms, thus becoming unattractive to the graduates as an employment option. Also cognizant that those steps will reduce the country's dependence on imports, increase income and gross domestic product of the country, boost the foreign reserves, thus leading to economic buoyancy and reducing dependence on oil as the major income earner for the country.
In another development, the House is also urging security agencies to remove multiple checkpoints on roads leading to the southeastern part of the country. According to the motion, this will aid the free flow of traffic during this festive period.
These abandoned makeshift roadblocks are reportedly used by armed robbers who rob and terrorize road users at odd hours.
The House is also urging security agencies to work together to avoid multiple roadblocks on the roads. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
Nigeria had a slow start to 2017 with the lingering effect of the economic recession carried over from the previous year. In continuation of our review of the year 2017, Channels Television's business editor Bosun Omofaye examines the factors that led to the recovery in the economy as well as the not-so-bright spots.
The 2017 full-year growth figures for Nigeria is not yet on hand, but the consensus was that the fourth quarter GDP would track the third quarter growth and perhaps a shade higher to estimated 1.9%. In close to 3 years, 2017 is the period in which optimism was at its highest about the state of the broad economy and the markets as the economy digs out of the 2016 recession.
Investors and exporters' window had increased liquidity and boosted confidence in the market with over $18.7 billion in transactions since its introduction in April 2017.
Nigeria's economic story of 2017 sounds pretty straightforward, thanks to the foreign exchange market under the central bank. The CBN, in turn, had the support of steady oil prices and, by extension, steady crude output from the now quiet Niger Delta. But the good news of 2017 goes beyond monetary policies, the markets, and the sweet oil prices.
To facilitate Nigeria's economic recovery, the government's aim is to increase national productivity and achieve sustainable diversification of production, to significantly grow the economy and achieve maximum welfare for its citizens. And the Economic Recovery and Growth Plan, ERGP, has unveiled a roadmap for this.
From executive orders on port operations, business registration and policies on ease of credit to small businesses, the fiscal authorities pulled a few strings in the year under review. The result was a better ranking in the global ease of doing business and a clearer idea of what the Buhari's administration was doing.
It's about creating the right structures that the government should be able to intervene in the welfare and well-being of citizens. And basically what is lacking is this. The structures we have today is such that virtually the entire government revenue goes into servicing the overhead of government. And little is left to social infrastructure. Little is left to fiscal infrastructure. And that's the challenge we have.
As Nigerians reflect on the economy that digs out of recession in 2017, they see yet a number of critical fault lines. 2017 was tough. Unemployment remained high, consumer spending was weak, and prices stubbornly high, despite a recovery from recession. But there are other bigger issues as well. The state of infrastructure did not significantly improve, despite billions being pumped into them. And for an economy in dire need of investments, foreign direct inflows was a disappointment, but not entirely hopeless.
There are other investment areas apart from just supporting them in terms of budget. Take the case of the power sector. We as African Development Bank, we are supporting the transmission company of Nigeria to actually make it, to repair and to upgrade the transmission lines all across Nigeria.
There is so much goodwill and funds for Nigeria to harvest, but if impactful economic process like budgeting remains complicated, controversial, messy, and even uncertain, the country could be digging itself into a prolonged period of one step forward and many steps backward. As a new year beckons for Nigeria with a few success stories in its inbox, there is so much more in the outbox, but not much time for the sitting president, whose first time is halfway to a slow and sluggish start. Bosun Omofaye, Channels Television News.
Well, we'll have more on the economy on the review in the course of the bulletin. But let's turn our focus to something else now, as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has released the Chief Executive Officer of Innoson Motors, Innocent Chukwuma, on bail. The businessman was arrested on Tuesday, December the 19th, for allegedly failing to honor an invitation from the Commission. A statement from the EFCC's head of media and publicity, Wilson Uwajere, says Mr. Chukwuma had resisted arrest and stirred controversy by bringing 6 truckloads of thugs to block the entrance to his Enugu home. But Mr. Chukwuma's spokesperson has denied the claim, saying he was never invited by the EFCC. They also asked the EFCC to produce the evidence of invitation. The EFCC says Chukwuma and his brother, Charles, who is still at large, are being investigated by the Insurance and Capital Market Fraud Section of the Commission's office in Lagos, over matters bordering on an alleged 1.5 billion naira fraud. Now, before the EFCC announced the release of the innocent boss, the Senate had condemned his arrest in what it describes as a military-style arrest. The Deputy Senate President, Ike Ekweremadu, who brought the matter to the attention of the lawmakers, describes the arrest of Mr. Chukwuma as a violation of his liberty as guaranteed by the Constitution. Our correspondent Linda Akigbe reports.
Proceeding of Tuesday, 19th.
It's a matter that has come up repeatedly in the National Assembly. Accusations of excesses and high-handedness by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu is displeased that EFCC officials on Tuesday, December 19th, arrested an industrialist and the chairman of indigenous automobile company Innoson Motors, Mr. Innocent Chukwuma, at his residence in Enugu.
He was bundled like a common criminal for a mere transaction between him and his bank. And the story he told me is that he's not owing the bank anything. He borrowed money from the bank, which he has since repaid. And the bank kept charging him money and deducting money from his account. And so he promptly reported the matter to the bank, and between him and the bank, they set up an audit. And the auditor came to the conclusion that the bank had deducted by 500 million naira. And so the bank was ready to pay, but he was insisting on 22% interest on the deduction because the loan he got from the bank was at 22% interest.
Some lawmakers fault the EFCC for intervening in what they say is a purely business matter.
How can state institutions be used for personal purposes? Whether it is a bank, or it's an individual, or it's a government official, this is supposed to be a private transaction that is already in the court.
The EFCC violated Section 36 that gives the right of fair hearing, and that includes fair summoning. And if a case was taken to court by a Nigerian, and this Nigerian won in the High Court, and this Nigerian won in the Court of Appeal, and the bank has now gone to the Supreme Court, waiting with the business of EFCC.
Journalists attempted to get the EFCC chairman, Ibrahim Magu, to respond to the Senate's allegations of high-handedness leveled against him when he came to the National Assembly in the afternoon for a budget defense session.
I'm aware he's been arrested, but we will issue a statement.
Senate say that you don't have any business arresting him.
We will issue a statement.
In the meantime, the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crime has 24 hours to investigate the matter and report back to the Senate. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
The acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ibrahim Magu, says the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit now has full autonomy. Speaking before members of the Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption at a budget defense session, Mr. Magu says the NFIU will begin operating as an independent agency from January the 1st, 2018. The global body Egmont Group of Financial Intelligence Agencies had suspended Nigeria this year for failing to make the NIFU independent.
This time around, they are now going to be on their own. They already have an account department that will run their financial independence and independence of the EFCC. But still, they still remain on us and in principle, actually. I say we have given them, the system has accorded their financial autonomy. Yes, and operational autonomy. Yes, and administratively they will continue to run their own affairs independent of the EFCC. So they are independent now? Yeah, autonomous, financially, operationally.
We are asking that everything we want to do now, from this budget presentation towards everything we're going to do, we need the foundation here that's going to bring a new outfit that are going to employ, are going to do this and that. 800 million budgeted for this cannot go anywhere in terms of foreign trips. Because if we want to let NFIU go,
they have to go with all the expectations, the paraphernalia of the office that can make them to become autonomous.
In part two, after the break, more on the economy in 2017. I'll be joined by an economic analyst, Mr. Yomi Olugbenro. That's in a moment. Please stay with us.